See, just look at the board. The things which we discussed in the last two classes, I mentioned everything on the board, right? See, you need to maintain everything in point wise, so that it is easy for us to review, to revise at the time of exams, and at the time of our discussion, it is very easy for all of us, right? See, in trigonometry, as a first point, we discussed about the introduction, and as a second point, we discussed about definition of angle and its measure, and third point is the British system, fourth one is the French system, fifth one is the Indian system, and the sixth one is the relation between the degrees measure, grades measure, as well as radians measure, and the way of conversion from one measure to the other measure we discussed in sixth point. And whereas in the seventh point, we developed an order between 1 degree, 1 radian and 1 grade. And for the eighth point, L is equals to r theta, where this L is the length of the arc and theta is the angle made by the arc of length L at the center in terms of radians. Is it right? And whereas the ninth point is about the area of the sector, and that is half r square theta. See, up to this ninth point, we already discussed about all these points in the previous classes, and now in this class I am starting this 10th point, which is the a simple basic concept related to the similar triangles. As I mentioned in the first class, before going to enter for trigonometry, we need to have certain pre-requirements in our hands, such as concepts of angle, concept of similar triangles, concept of the coordinate system, and then few little things. See, initially we are discussing all those one by one, and after these things we will enter into trigonometry, right? And now for today's session, I will start with the concept of similar objects and similar triangles. Yeah, see, similarity is there in between different similarity is there in between different things, like not only for triangles, we may observe similarity in between two pens, we may observe similarity in between two books, similarity in between two persons. Likewise, similarity is there for every type of object, but specifically we need to know about similar triangles here. And basically similar objects means our 10th point for today's session is similar objects, and specifically similar triangles, right? Similar objects. Similar objects are nothing but two objects which are in the same shape are known as similar objects. Similar objects are nothing but objects having the same shape are known as similar objects. For suppose if the objects have same size along with the same shape, then we call those objects as what? Congruent objects. Is it clear? First thing is, two objects are mentioned as similar objects if they have same shape, that's enough. Along with the same shape, if the objects have same sizes also, then we call them as what? Congruent objects. And now it is enough for us to know about the similar objects. Okay, you may face you will have these similar objects in different situations. For example, I have two pens in my hand. See, if you look at this, these two pens are similar because they are in the same shape. Is it right? Right. And for example, look at this my palm. And then for example, look at yours. See, all those two are the same shape usually. So these two are similar. Okay, but they are not congruent. For suppose, see, congruent objects means if you place one object on the other, exactly they will coincide. Then in that case we call them as congruent. But whereas coming to the similarity, it is just expansion or contraction of the object. For example, if you have an object, if you prepare an image for that object, then that image is just a similar for that one. Like mirror images, photographs, water images, all these things are the similar objects because they are in the same shape. The sizes may be different. If you look my water image, the size may be different, but the shapes are same. So we call these as the similar objects, right? And specifically when coming for the triangles, similar triangles, that's what we need to know. Similar triangles. Two triangles are mentioned as similar triangles, right? The basic definition is same. What it is? If they are in the same shape, we call them as similar triangles. So for example, I have triangle 1 and triangle 2. If these two are similar, this is the basic a symbol to notate similarity. So similar triangles, triangle 1 is similar to triangle 2, and it happens only if triangle 1 is similar to triangle 2 only if, see, it has to satisfy two conditions. First one is corresponding angles are same. Corresponding angles are same. Corresponding angles are same. And another thing is corresponding sides are in same ratio. Corresponding angles should equal and corresponding sides has to maintain some ratio or in same ratio. Yeah. Once again, just have a look at this. Basically, similar objects means two objects which are in the same shape are known as similar objects. And in particular, if you think about similar triangles, triangle 1 is mentioned as similar to triangle 2 if three angles of triangle 1 equals to the three angles of triangle 2 and three sides of triangle 1 are in same ratio with the three sides of triangle 2. For suppose if I say triangle ABC, have two triangles, you suppose if you name them as ABC and DEF. If you declare that triangle ABC is similar to triangle DEF, if triangle ABC is similar to triangle DEF, then what will happen? Then as I mentioned, their corresponding angles must equal. See, here we have A at first and here it is D at first. That in the sense, angle A is equals to angle D. And then angle B and E, vertex B and vertex E are corresponding, so angle B is equals to angle E. And vertex C and vertex F are corresponding, so angle C is equals to angle F. Since these two are similar, their corresponding angles are equal. For suppose if you move with the small diagrams related to the triangle ABC along with the triangle DEF. For suppose if these two are similar, this is triangle ABC and whereas this is triangle DEF. The first thing what I mentioned here, it is corresponding angles are equal. Corresponding angles means angle A is equals to angle D, angle B is equals to angle E, and angle C is equals to angle F. And after that, their corresponding sides are in same ratio. That means, for example, if you look at angle A, these two angles are equal, angle A and angle D. In the first triangle, side opposite to angle A is BC. And in the second triangle, side opposite to angle D is EF. So the ratio between BC and EF is equals to the ratio between AC and DF. They are corresponding, and that ratio is again equals to the ratio between AB and DE. Have a look at this. So two triangles ABC and DEF are mentioned as similar. When we will mention like this, if their corresponding angles are equal and their corresponding sides are in the same ratio. You learn everything in similar triangles of plane geometry. Okay. So, but now it is enough for us. See, if you know the definition of similar triangles, and that is enough for our discussion, right? And you learned about the congruent triangles in your 8th standard. Okay. See, there are certain congruency axioms. We call them as congruency criteria. In the similar fashion, we have certain similarity criteria. See, to confirm whether two given triangles either similar or not, you need to check 6 conditions. What are those 6 conditions? 3 angles and 3 sides. Okay. What I am going to confirm is, I gave you 2 triangles, triangle 1 and triangle 2. And now you need to check whether they are similar or not. How you can check? See, you will check by observing their angles and by observing their sides, side lengths, right? That means you need to check 6 criteria, 6 conditions, right? Angle 1, angle 2, angle 3 of this triangle and that triangle, side 1, side 2 and side 3 of this triangle and that triangle. If the sides are maintaining same ratio, if their angles are equal, then it is easy for us to declare it as similar, right? See, instead of checking those 6 conditions, it is enough to check 3 conditions or 2 conditions. That suggestion is by similarity criteria, right? Actually, to declare two triangles whether similar or not, you need to check 6 conditions. Instead of checking 6 conditions, it is enough to check only 3. That idea is given by the similarity criteria for triangles, and we have those similarity criteria as SAS similarity criteria, SSS similarity criteria, and AA similarity criteria. SAS similarity criteria. Actually, you need to check 6 conditions, but instead of checking 6 conditions, enough to check 3. What are those 3? If you check, 2 sides are in the same ratio and one angle which is in between those sides, if it is equal, then automatically those two are similar. And in the other way, if 3 sides of this triangle and 3 sides of that triangle are maintaining the same ratio, then automatically those angles are equal, then no need to check the angles. And for suppose, if 2 angles of first triangle equal to the 2 angles of the other triangle, then no need to check the sides. Automatically the sides also will maintain the same ratio, then we declare them as similar. So among all these things, in most of the cases, we move with this AA similarity criteria because it is very simple. If you look, right, AA similarity criteria. For suppose if I gave you 2 triangles, right, triangle 1 and triangle 2. On our observation, if 2 angles of triangle 1 are equal to the 2 angles of triangle 2, then no need to check any other. Directly you have a chance to say that triangle 1 is similar to triangle 2. And if it is confirmed triangle 1 is similar to triangle 2, then you can use the sides ratio as equal for the further problem. Right? Once again I am telling you, if triangles are similar, then we need to check 6 conditions. If you have any 3 among these 6, then it is easy for us to declare as triangle similar, and then we move with the problem. Just have a look at this. This is something about the similarity of triangles. And to move with the trigonometry, the very basic definition of similar triangles is enough, and that's why we introduced here right now. Just have a look at this. Go with a screenshot. See, angles ratio and sides ratio. First, suppose if you know angles of a triangle, then what is the relation between their sides? What is the ratio of their sides? It is given. That's what we need to discuss right now here. And that discussion, that sides ratio is again helpful for us to calculate trigonometric values further. Right? The first thing among those, what I want to give you is, the first thing, you may say it as A of the 11th point. See, if the angles ratio is equals to 1:1:1. Think about it. Angles ratio is 1:1:1. Then what you say about the side ratio? It is very clear that we know that in a triangle, sum of the angles is 180. Since angles ratio is 1:1, the angles are maybe x, x, x. Or you may say, since they are angles, you may take them as alpha, alpha, alpha. Right? Alpha, alpha, alpha. Right? Since angles ratio is 1:1:1, that represents that my angles are equal in the triangle. Since angles are equal, the sum of the angles should be 180. So sum of these 3 alpha is equals to 180 and alpha is equals to 60. That in turn represents that each angle of a triangle is 60, 60, 60. That means if angles ratio is 1:1:1, the triangle is nothing but an equilateral triangle. And we know by the property of equilateral triangle, all the sides are equal. Is it right? Since all the sides are equal, from there you will confirm that sides ratio is equals to again 1:1:1. So for an equilateral triangle, what you say about the sides? The sides are in 1:1:1 ratio, the sides are equal. As per the problem, you move further, right? Just have a look at this. If the angles ratio is 1:1:1, right? And the second thing what I am going to discuss is, if the angles ratio is 1:1:2, what you say? Second one, angles ratio. If the angles ratio in a triangle is 1:1:2, then what you say about the sides ratio of that particular triangle? Look at that. Angles ratio is 1:1:2. Since angles ratio is 1 is to 1 is to 2, then the angles are alpha, alpha, 2 alpha. I think you know about ratios, right? Since the ratio is 1 is to 1 is to 2, we usually consider them as alpha, alpha and 2 alpha, or sometimes k and 2k like that. And we know that in a triangle sum of the angles is 180. Alpha, alpha, 2 alpha, from there you have that 4 alpha is equals to 180. Since 4 alpha is equals to 180, alpha is equals to 45. And alpha is equals to 45, that means the angles are 45, 45 and 90, since 2 alpha is 245s. And look at the picture. Now 45, 45 and 90. The diagram will be like this. Since two angles are equal and one angle is 90 degrees, we call this triangle as isosceles right angle triangle. See, since these two angles as 45 and 45, if you consider these sides as some A and A, then by Pythagorean result, this hypotenuse of the triangle is calculated by square root of a square plus a square. And if you simplify, you get it as root 2a. Now if you look there, what to say about the sides ratio? I need to mention sides ratio. The sides are a root 2a. If you cancel out that a, then the sides ratio is 1 is to 1 is to root 2. Have a look at the board. See, we are discussing about sides ratio versus angles ratio. If angles ratio is known, then we are going to calculate sides ratio. If angles ratio is 1 is to 1 is to 1, then sides ratio is 1 is to 1 is to 1. If angles ratio is 1 is to 1 is to 2, then sides ratio is 1 is to 1 is to root 2. Likewise, using different concepts of plane geometry, right? Using different concepts of plane geometry, like sometimes we may use congruency of triangles, similarity of triangles, Pythagorean theorem here, and by using different concepts of similar triangles, we can find the sides ratio depending on the angles ratio. But at present, for us, just sides ratio of three frequently used triangles is enough. What I am going to tell you is, we have a chance to find sides ratio from the angles ratio for different types of triangles using different concepts of plane geometry. But to enter into trigonometry, for us it is enough to know about sides ratio related to the angles ratio for three frequently used triangles. Among those, these are the two. And I will give you one more, right? Have a look at this. The third triangle, what we need to discuss here is, if the angles ratio is 1 is to 2 is to 3. Look at this. If the angles ratio is 1 is to 2 is to 3, you may call those angles as alpha, 2 alpha, 3 alpha. I think you know the utilization of the concept of ratios. If two persons amounts are in the ratio 3 is to 4, we let them as 3k, 4k like that, right? So in a similar pattern, if the angles ratio is 1 is to 2 is to 3, those angles you need to consider them as alpha, 2 alpha, 3 alpha. And we know that sum of angles of a triangle is 180. So you just add everything, and that is 6 alpha. 6 alpha is equals to 180 degrees and alpha is equals to 30 degrees. And since alpha is equals to 30 degrees, those angles are in the ratio 30, 60 and what? 90, right? 30, 60, 90. So angles are 30, 60, 90, and now the diagram will be like this. Yeah. One angle is 90 degrees, one angle is 30 degrees, one angle is 60 degrees. You need to calculate the ratio between these sides of this triangle. Look at this. Look at this. What I am going to tell you is, angles ratio is 1 is to 2 is to 3. For the first triangle, see, we discussed 3 points, right? For the first point A, angles ratio is 1 is to 1 is to 1. The triangle becomes equilateral and it is easy for us to finalize the sides ratio as 1 is to 1 is to 1. And for the second triangle, angles will become 45, 45 and 90. Then in that case, the triangle is isosceles right angle. Then since it is isosceles, you consider 2 as A and A. Automatically by Pythagorean result, you get the third one. That is also somewhat easy with the Pythagorean result. But now when you look at this, the angles are 30, 60, 90, right? See, to find out the ratio between these sides, what I do is, I will consider one more triangle similar to this. What I am going to do is, see, this is one triangle and I am going to consider one more triangle similar to this, just like a Xerox copy of this triangle, right? So if you consider one more triangle similar to this, how it becomes, right? I need to find ratio between the sides. Initially, if you don't know the ratio between these sides, just let those, yeah, take this as A and then this as B and then this as C. Is it right? Let them as A, B, C. And our intention is to find the ratio between these three. So we need to calculate what A is to B is to C, and I will do. So you just take one more triangle like this. Yeah, this is the first triangle what we given. For this triangle, this is 90, this is 60, this is 30, this is A. So for some time I just leave that B and C. Yeah, and you need to consider same triangle. One more triangle which is exactly same for this. Congruent, right? Not similar. You need to take exactly same triangle. Okay. So this is 90, this is 30 and this is 60. Same triangle I am taking. For this triangle, again this is A because both the triangles are same, right? And now you just join these two. If you join these two, the diagram will become like this. If you join these two, the triangle will become like this. Okay, this is 30 and 30, right? So again it becomes 60, and this is already 60, this is already 60 because we are joining these two. This is A and this is A. If you join these two, this total length is 2A. What you say? 2A. Since this total length is 2A, since it's an equilateral triangle, this length is 2A, this length is also 2A. But what you say about the height of the equilateral triangle? That's what we need to calculate. This height. By Pythagorean result or some other way, you can calculate the height of the equilateral triangle by the rule that root 3 by 2 times of this side. Height of the equilateral triangle is root 3 by 2 times of the side, and here my side is 2A. So if you replace that side with 2A, you get it as root 3A. And that height is root 3A. This is root 3A, and that means this is root 3A, and that at the end this B is root 3A. Just have a look at this once again. Once again I am repeating for you. See, angles ratio for a triangle, now it is 1:2:3, and we are going to find the side ratio. Since angles ratio is 1:2:3, you just let the angles as alpha, 2 alpha, 3 alpha. And since these are the angles, sum is 180, alpha is 30, and each angle is 30, 60, 90, and this is the triangle. Our intention is to find the sides ratio. Let the sides as ABC. At the end, if you find the ratio between ABC, that's enough. And now to find the ratio between ABC, you just take another triangle which is exactly congruent with this, right? So now I have two copies of this triangle, and these are those two copies. And now if you join these two, the combined figure will look like this. And in this combined figure, each angle becomes 60, 60, 60, because already these are 60s, and if you combine these two 30 and 30 will become 60, and it is equilateral. Since it is equilateral, already we know that this total length is 2A, then all the sides are 2A for this triangle. Then for this triangle all the sides are 2A, and since it is equilateral, from Pythagorean result you can calculate the height again using root 3 by 2 times of the side, which is root 3A. And now you have different measurements related to this triangle, but exactly this is not my triangle. My triangle is half of that one. See, this is my triangle. And now when you transfer these values to my triangle, the values are like this. What are my values? Look at this. I will discuss something. A is one side, and what you say about B? B is this. Just like the height, this is my B, this is my C. So just like height, this is B, and B is equals to root 3A. And B is equals to root 3A. Then what you say about C? C is equals to this total length, and this total length is 2A. And now the ratio between these two is nothing but A is to root 3A is to 2A. And if you cancel out A, then the ratio will become 1 is to root 3 is to 2. So if the angles ratio is 1 is to 2 is to 3, then the sides ratio is 1 is to root 3 is to 2. Look at this. To calculate the sides ratio from the given angles ratio, this is the thing which we get from the plane geometrical discussion, right? Have a look at this. Go with a screenshot again. And if you have Yeah. Next pre-requirement to move confidently with the trigonometry is the coordinate system. And the coordinate system is what? See, basically we have coordinate. See, this coordinate system is nothing but coordinate geometry. Basically, in mathematics we have algebra, geometry. See, if you connect this algebra with geometry, then that idea of connection simplifies our difficulties in algebra and our difficulties in geometry with the other branch. So, if you develop that connection, if you develop that bridge, our work automatically gets simplified. This idea develops coordinate geometry, and this is developed by the Rene Descartes. As per his name, we also call this as the Cartesian coordinate geometry, right? And as per his idea, the very basic fundamental term of the geometry is point, and the fundamental item of algebra is the variable. So if you connect this fundamental term point of the geometry with the fundamental term variable of algebra, if you connect these two things, automatically everything, we have a chance to transfer everything from geometry to algebra and from algebra to geometry, right? With that idea, what he did is, see, he prepared a system, coordinate system, say, right? I think you are all aware about this coordinate system, just I am introducing here, right? Yeah, he prepared a system, the coordinate system. What it does is, it divides the points of a plane into 4 parts initially, right? There are infinite number of points on a plane. If you consider two number lines which are arranged perpendicularly at their at their zero, then these two number lines will divide the total Cartesian plane into 4 parts, and this is usually mentioned as the Cartesian plane or the coordinate plane and the coordinate system. Usually we call this horizontal line as the x-axis and the vertical line as the y-axis. On this x-axis we will consider positive numbers towards right as well as negative numbers towards left. In the similar pattern, if you think about the y-axis, positive numbers while you move up, whereas negative numbers while we move down. This is the basically coordinate system. And as per Rene Descartes, see, a plane consists of infinite number of points. If you have a point here, then how to address this point? For example, if you have a point in the plane, you need to address that point with certain specifications, with certain directions. So we have to address that point by its distance from origin along the horizontal line and by its distance from the origin along the vertical line. And at present, for this particular point, if you look, this point from origin is at a distance of 3 units along the horizontal line and is at a distance of 2 units along the vertical line. And now in this case, its address is mentioned as 3, 2. 3, 2 is just the address of the point, right? And the name of the point may be the capital English alphabet like P or A or anything, and this dot is just the representation of the point, right? See, this dot is the representation, this P is the name of the point, this 3, 2 is the address of the point, right? So in a plane there are infinite number of points, and according to Rene Descartes, it is easy for all of us to address each and every point of the plane with the help of coordinate system. And this is that coordinate system. You just consider any point in this board, that in the sense any point in this plane. For suppose if you consider a point here, if you consider a point here, then you need to address that point. How can you address? To address this point, you need to calculate its distance, this distance of this point from origin along x-axis. For suppose if you calculate this distance, it may be in terms of centimeters or kilometers, no problem. For suppose if the distance is some x units, and if you calculate its distance from origin along vertical line along y-axis, and if its distance is some y, then its address is given by x comma y. Okay, and for suppose if you look here, if I have another point here, I think you are aware about this representation. If you have a point here and this point has an address of -2 comma -1, Actually, its distance from the origin along x-axis is 2 units and along y-axis is 1 unit. The distance is 2 units and the distance is 1 unit, but as a direction, since we are moving left side, since we are moving downwards, we represent this point as -2 comma -1. Right? You need to address a point with the distances along the distance of the points from origin along x-axis and with the distance along y-axis as per the direction again, right? See, if this is the distance of 2 units, you are using this as 2, and among these two numbers 3 and 2, this 3 is usually termed as what? X coordinate, and this 2 as y coordinate. This 2 is mentioned as y coordinate or ordinate of the point, whereas this 3 is termed as x coordinate or abscissa of a point. Right? Just have a look at this. This is something about the coordinate system, and since this is the origin, see, there is no horizontal movement as well as the vertical movement from the origin to this point, so its address is 0, 0. So its address is 0, 0. See, if you think what it is, origin. Why you are calling it as origin? It originates each and every point of the plane. It generates each and every point of the plane, because to address every point